The Thing in the Hollow. Part 1. The last thing our dog ever said to me was, "You're the last one." I was 13 years old, and until that afternoon I had never heard Cole make a sound that wasn't a bark, a growl, or the tired little whine he made when his hips hurt. My father had just shot him. For years afterward, whenever I told that part of the story, people always asked the same question. Why would your father shoot the family dog? The answer is simple, because Dad thought Cole was dangerous. The harder question is why my grandmother had spent 12 years making sure nobody in our family ever killed him. Back then, we lived in Mercer Hollow, West Virginia, in a white farmhouse that had belonged to the Carters since before the county paved the road. The house sat at the bottom of a wooded ridge, with an old barn on one side, a root cellar behind the kitchen, and enough distance between us and the nearest neighbor that nobody could hear you shout unless the wind was right. My father, Daniel Carter, repaired cars and farm equipment at Bishop's garage in town. He was 39, broad through the shoulders, permanently stained with grease around his fingernails, and capable of fixing almost anything except his relationship with his mother. Grandma Evelyn lived with us. She had lived in that hollow all her life. She believed in keeping canned food through winter, checking the creek before a storm, never leaving tools outside overnight, and a long list of rules she refused to explain. Never whistle toward the ridge after dark. Never answer someone calling from the woods unless you can see their face. If a bird hits the east window, cover the glass until morning. And most important of all, nobody in this family kills Cole. Dad hated that rule. Not because he wanted Cole dead. He loved that dog. Cole had been a black puppy when I was born. There are photographs of Dad holding me in one arm and Cole in the other. When Mom died when I was 9, Cole slept outside my bedroom door for almost a month. He followed me to the creek, waited outside the school bus, and sat under Dad's workbench while he changed oil. Then, during the summer I turned 13, he changed. Cole stopped sleeping inside. He began standing at the tree line after sunset, staring into the woods. Sometimes he stayed there for hours. Then we found 3 chickens dead behind the coop. Their bodies were torn open, but not eaten. A week later, Cole bit Dad badly enough to require 6 stitches. That night, Dad and Grandma argued. "He's old," Dad said. "Something's wrong with him. He stays. He bit me. He stays. What happens when he bites Owen?" "He won't. You don't know that." "Yes, I do." Dad laughed bitterly. "Why can't anybody in this family kill that dog?" Grandma's voice dropped. "Because it knows us." The next afternoon, Dad took his rifle from the cabinet. Grandma was away helping at church. I saw Dad walking toward the barn with Cole on a rope and followed. Cole did not resist. Dad stopped near the far fence and tied the leash to a post. "Go inside." "Owen." "Don't. He's dangerous. He won't bite me." Dad put a hand on my shoulder. "Sometimes loving something doesn't mean you let it hurt people." He raised the rifle. Cole looked past him at me. The shot echoed across the hollow. Cole fell. I ran forward. He lay on his side, blood in the grass, chest barely moving. Then he opened his eyes. Something behind them looked human. His mouth moved. A low, wet voice came out. "You're the last one." Dad froze. Cole died. Grandma's car entered the driveway minutes later. She saw the rifle, the dog, and my face. The casserole in her hands hit the gravel. She did not ask what happened. She asked, "Did he say anything?" Dad stared at her. I whispered. He said, "I'm the last one." Grandma slapped Dad. "I told you. You told me nothing." She looked toward the woods. Branches snapped in 3 different directions. "Inside." Now, she locked the farmhouse, pulled every curtain, and removed an old metal box from the pantry. Inside were photographs, clippings, a cassette, and a hand-drawn map of Mercer Hollow marked with red circles. Before she explained, headlights crossed the curtains. 3 knocks sounded. "Daniel." Sheriff Ray Bishop called from outside. Dad moved to open the door. Grandma stopped him. "Ask where Carol is." Dad frowned but called, "Ray, where's Carol?" A pause. "At home," Grandma whispered. "Wrong. She's in Ohio." The porch went silent. Then Ray's voice said, "Daniel, open the door." The knob turned. A laugh followed, starting like Ray and ending like something choking. Footsteps circled the house. Grandma shoved me toward the root cellar. "If anything comes back wearing someone you know, you do not answer it. You do not touch it. You do not believe it." I hid below the kitchen. Minutes later, footsteps entered overhead. Then Dad's voice. "Owen." I almost opened the cellar. "Owen, buddy, open the door. It's Dad." My hand stopped. Dad never said "it's Dad." The cellar door opened an inch. One eye appeared. Dad's eye, then his smile. Half his face looked normal. The other half was covered in short black hair like coals. I screamed. A gun fired outside. The thing fled. When Grandma opened the cellar, the real Dad was gone. We found blood upstairs, a broken window, and his rifle in the yard. No body. The real Sheriff Ray arrived 20 minutes later. Grandma made him prove who he was with private questions. Then Ray saw Cole's body and closed his eyes. "You told Daniel." "No, you should have." I shouted. "Tell me what's happening." Ray looked at Grandma. She said nothing. That night, 7 people gathered at our farmhouse. Every person was questioned before entering. Private memories, old injuries, names, dates. Nobody laughed. They had done this before. Our neighbor Diane Mercer finally told me why. 12 years ago, people disappeared. Grandma glared at her. Diane continued. "Your grandmother thinks secrets keep people alive." Outside, something barked. Once. Then another bark came from the opposite side of the house. Then a third from the ridge. 3 Coles, Grandma whispered. "It's learning again." At dawn, Cole's body was gone. Only the rope remained. On the barn door, written in blood, were 3 words, one left inside. "The thing in the hollow, part to Sheriff Ray wanted me removed from Mercer Hollow." Grandma refused. "So, it can follow him down the highway." "We don't know that it can. We don't know that it can't." Search teams entered the woods in pairs. Everyone carried radios. Everyone used private questions before allowing anyone back into the farmhouse. Grandma finally opened the old metal box. The photographs were 12 years old. A younger Ray, Diane, Grandma, my grandfather Henry, and beside Henry stood a full-grown black dog. "Cole, that's impossible," I said. Grandma looked away. "Cole was older than we told you." "How old?" "We don't know. The puppy in my baby pictures had been another dog. Cole had already existed before I was born." I understood before Grandma admitted it. "You trapped something inside him." "We trapped something." "What?" "I don't know what it was." She called it the thing in the hollow. 12 years earlier, people had begun returning home wrong. A husband forgot which side of the bed he slept on. A girl called her mother by her first name. A boy came home 2 days after searchers found his body in a ravine. The thing copied faces, voices, habits, and memories, but never perfectly. Then Dad's torn jacket was found near the North Creek. I followed the searchers into the woods despite Grandma's orders. Near the old cemetery, Diane found me. At least I thought she did. I tested her. "What was Mom's middle name?" "Louise." "What did you bring us last Christmas?" "Apple butter and a pie your father said was too sour." "Correct." "What did I break in your house when I was 9? "My bathroom window." "Correct." I trusted her. That was the mistake. Diane led me to Henry Carter's grave. She said there was no body under the stone. She said Grandma had used Henry as bait 12 years earlier. She tied blood-soaked clothes to him and sent him into the woods. "You're lying." "I wish." Grandma said he volunteered. Diane laughed. "Of course she did." Then she leaned close. "That thing isn't hunting your family because Daniel killed the dog. It's hunting you because of what Evelyn did." A radio crackled behind us, Ray calling my name. Diane's expression changed. For half a second she looked annoyed. I ran. She called after me in Dad's voice, "Buddy." Then Mom's, Owen, sweetheart. Mom had been dead for years. I ran faster. When I reached the farmhouse, everyone was in the yard. Diane stood beside Ray. I stared. You were at the cemetery. No, I wasn't. Ray said she had been with him for the last hour. Then a truck horn sounded. Two searchers arrived carrying a woman's body. Diane Mercer. Her throat had been torn open. For one impossible second, there were two Dianes. The living one looked at me and smiled too wide. Then she ran. Ray shot her shoulder. Her arm bent backward at the elbow. She kept running. The body on the grass had been dead almost 3 hours. The thing had known Diane's memories. Private questions were useless. Inside, I confronted Grandma. Did you use Grandpa as bait? Silence? Yes. Did he volunteer? Not exactly. She finally told me the truth. The creature had marked Dad when he was 27. It called him from the woods. Grandma and Henry feared Daniel would be next. They needed to draw the creature into the old barn. Henry knew he was in danger. He did not know Grandma had already decided she might leave him there if the trap required it. The plan worked. The creature followed Henry. The others trapped it in a reinforced livestock pen. Bullets did not kill it. Fire did not kill it. It changed faces. Henry, missing children, Diane's husband, people already buried. Then a stray black dog entered the barn. Cole. The creature attacked him. Cole bit back. Something happened. The creature collapsed. Cole survived. Afterward he barely aged and never left Mercer Hollow. Henry died. His blood was on the dog. Grandma became convinced Carter blood was part of the seal. That was why no Carter could kill Cole. Dad had broken the prison. Ray admitted he had helped. You all lied to Dad? Yes. You made the wrong choice. Ray nodded? Yes. No excuse. That night Dad spoke through the radio. Owen, Grandma told me not to answer. I did. Dad, buddy, that word hurt. I asked him something only Dad should know. What did you say when Mom burned the Thanksgiving turkey? He answered, that we should order pizza before she killed the potatoes too. Correct. Then he whispered, she did this. Don't let her use you like she used Henry. Grandma said it had Dad's memories. I asked where he was. Still here, Dad said. Still inside. Then a deeper voice broke through. You're the last one. The radio died. A scream came from the barn. Dad's scream. I ran outside. Inside the barn, Dad stepped from the darkness. He looked human. I tested him with the scar on his arm. The scar was missing. Then, while I watched, it appeared. I knew. You're not him. His smile stayed too long. He lunged. Ray fired a shotgun into his chest. Dad fell, then stood. His ribs moved beneath his shirt as though fingers were rearranging them. Under the floodlights his face began changing. Diane. Dad. A stranger. Then Henry. Grandma dropped her gun. Henry. The thing smiled with my grandfather's mouth. You left me there. Evia. Grandma cried. It stepped closer. You told me Daniel was safe. I grabbed Grandma's gun. The creature changed back to Dad. Buddy. My finger tightened. Dad's face strained. Don't. The deeper voice underneath growled. Come here. Dad fought it. Owen ... run. I fired into its leg. It screamed with several voices and fled into the woods. Grandma stared after it. He's in there, Ray said. Maybe. No. Daniel is still in there. For the first time, Grandma wanted to save someone instead of sacrifice them. Before dawn another search team disappeared. At sunrise their truck was found empty. 3 sets of footprints went into the woods. 4 sets came back. The thing in the hollow. Part 3. By the 3rd day, Mercer Hollow had become a place where nobody trusted a closed door. Ray blocked the county road and told dispatch there was a chemical spill. The 3 missing searchers returned after sunrise. A 4th man walked with them. Nobody knew him. Ray separated everyone and asked private questions. One searcher failed. Ray shot him. The body twisted on the ground. Black hair pushed through the neck. The real man was found dead beneath a fallen tree. The unknown 4th man disappeared during the confusion. Ray said. We burned the barn. Grandma refused. Daniel is still inside. You heard something with Daniel's memories. He told Owen to run. It can lie. So can we, Grandma said. We lied to Daniel. We lied to Owen. We lied about Henry. I'm done deciding somebody is already dead because it makes the next choice easier. Later, dead Diane walked from the woods. Her corpse was still beneath a tarp near the garage. The copy stopped beyond the yard. We don't disappear, it said. Ray aimed. It keeps us. Its voice changed from woman to child to dad. Pieces. We're still here. Then it vanished. I could not forget that. If the creature kept pieces of its victims, Dad might truly be inside. Grandma took me to the old barn and showed me the rusted chain beneath the floorboards. This is where we caught it. I asked whether Henry knew she might leave him. No. Did you know? Yes. Why? Because I thought Daniel mattered more. She looked at me. You tell yourself you choose. Truth is, fear chooses for you. Something walked across the roof. Dad's voice whispered. She used you too. Then Henry's face appeared through the rotten boards. The creature dropped into the barn. Henry. Diane. Dad. Its body changed with wet cracks, like flesh remembering the wrong shape. Grandma fired. We escaped. Ray and the others opened fire outside. The thing ran toward the ridge on 2 legs, then 4, then 2 again. That afternoon we prepared to burn the barn. Grandma insisted on one condition. We would lure the creature inside alive and give Daniel one chance to fight through. The bait was me. This time I knew what the plan was. That mattered. At dusk I sat alone inside the barn. Ray and armed neighbors waited outside. Grandma hid in the loft. Gasoline ran through trenches in the floor. A road flare lay beside my chair. Darkness settled. Then Mom walked through the barn door. She looked exactly as I remembered her in the blue sweater she had been buried in. Owen, sweetheart. I gripped Dad's pocket knife. You're not her. Part of me is. That answer frightened me more than a lie. Her face became Dad. Buddy. I tested him. What did Mom call me when she thought I was asleep? Little bear. What did you tell me the night she died? That grief is love with nowhere to go. Nobody else knew that. Dad stepped closer. I'm still here. I wanted to believe him. Then he said, come with me. I stopped. If you're Dad, you know I can't. His jaw tightened. The deep voice surfaced. Come. Dad grabbed his own throat. Run. The creature charged. Dad screamed from inside it. Light it. I struck the flare and threw it into the gasoline. Fire raced across the barn. Grandma dropped from the loft with the old chain and looped it around the creature's neck. It became Henry. Evia. Grandma froze. I'm sorry, she whispered. Henry reached for her. Then the face became Dad. Mom. Grandma tightened the chain. I'm sorry, baby. Dad looked at me. Owen. I stepped toward him. Grandma shouted no. Dad said, don't look. I understood. I turned away. The creature screamed with many voices. Diane. Henry. Dad. People I never knew. Then Dad's voice broke through all of them. Go. Grandma grabbed me. We ran. The roof collapsed behind us. The barn burned until morning. Investigators later found human bones in the ruins. DNA identified Diane, missing residents, fragments of Henry, and tissue belonging to Dad. We buried Daniel beside Mom. For a while, Mercer Hollow became quiet. Grandma sold the farmhouse the next spring and moved with me to Charleston. She stopped giving unexplained rules. If she was afraid, she told me why. It did not fix everything, but it was a start. Grandma lived long enough to see me graduate college. The night before she died, she asked if I hated her. Sometimes, I said. She laughed. Fair. Then she asked whether I believed Henry had really spoken to her in the barn. I don't know. Neither do I. She died the next morning. For years I believed the fire ended it. Then I remembered one detail. Investigators found human bones. Animal bones? Deer, raccoon, possum, but no dog. No remains belonging to Cole. When I was 31, I lived in Richmond with my wife and daughter. One November night, something scratched our front door. Scratch, scratch, scratch. I looked through the peephole. Nothing. Then I heard a dog breathing outside. I did not open the door. The breathing stopped. My father's voice said, "Owen." Then, Buddy, I put my hand against the wood. Dad, a pause. Don't. I pulled my hand away. Something walked off the porch. At sunrise, there were muddy dog prints outside. They ended in the middle of the sidewalk. Every few years after that, usually after someone in my family died, I heard scratching. Different houses, different states, sometimes Dad, once Grandma, once Mom. I never opened the door. My daughter is 16 now. Last month she asked why I always check the porch before bed. Then she said, "There was a black dog outside my window last night." I asked what it looked like. "Old, what did it do?" Just stared at me. "Did it make any sound?" She hesitated. "You'll think I'm crazy." "What did it say?" She frowned. "I think it said, 'You're the last one.'" That night, I opened Grandma Evelyn's old metal box. At the bottom was an envelope addressed to me. Inside was a letter. If you are reading this, it means I was wrong about the fire. Cole was never the prison. Not exactly. The thing did not enter him because he was a dog. It entered him because Henry was dying beside him. Blood was not the lock. A living witness was, Cole saw Henry die. Then Cole carried what remained. When Daniel killed Cole, the witness died. The thing became free to choose another. I read it 3 times. Another witness. Me. I had seen Dad taken. I had watched the creature wear him. I had survived the barn. The thing did not want to kill the last Carter. It wanted someone to carry it. There was one final sentence. If it ever speaks through a dog again, do not let the dog die. Upstairs, my daughter screamed. I ran. Her window was open. A black dog stood in the backyard. Old, thin, gray around the muzzle. It looked exactly like Cole. My daughter whispered, "Dad, it knows your name." The dog opened its mouth. Dad's voice, "Owen," then Grandma, "Don't kill him," then something deeper, "Come outside." I shut the window. The dog remained until sunrise. That was 3 weeks ago. Since then I have slept near my daughter's room. I do not own a gun. I do not set traps. I do not call animal control. Yesterday she came home carrying dog food. "For the black dog," she said. "Don't feed it." "Why? He's nice." My stomach dropped. "You touched him," she nodded. "This morning." "He was by the mailbox." She smiled. "He knows Mom's name too." "How?" "He told me. I have not slept since. The dog is outside right now. I can see him from the kitchen. My daughter is upstairs. My wife is at work. The dog sits beyond the glass door, watching me type this. Every few minutes he scratches once, not to come inside, to remind me he is there. I finally understand what Grandma meant when she said fear chooses for you. 12 years before I was born, she chose her son over her husband. When I was 13, she chose me over my father. Now I am looking through a glass door at something wearing the shape of the dog I loved. Upstairs is my daughter, the last Carter after me. The dog scratches. Once, twice, 3 times. Dad's voice comes through the glass. "Buddy." I do not answer. Grandma's voice follows. "Owen, listen." I do not answer. Then my daughter calls from upstairs. "Dad." I turn toward the stairs. Again. "Dad." The dog's in my room. I look back through the glass. The black dog is still outside, watching me. And for the first time since I was 13, I understand that the worst thing in Mercer Hollow was never that it could wear the face of someone you loved. It was that eventually ... you could no longer know how many of them there were. END